shit. Hey, this is Mike and Shaun with Talking Tickets. We're back talking about movie ticket collecting, my most recent card shows, and much, much more.
What's up, Mike?
Hey, what's going on?
It's been a couple of weeks, right?
Couple weeks. I was out of town, had those card shows. Baseball's in full swing.
Yeah,
Football's up and running.
It's coming right down to the wire with the Rangers.
Right.
And
It's not 100 degrees in Texas anymore. Life's pretty good.
Yeah. Good.
So, first of all, I wanted to start off the show. Last 2 weeks ago, we had Ravel on, and I was getting blown up by long on tickets. Sergio, he wanted me to let the world know that these soccer fraud tickets are not fraudulent. Basically, Ravel made a statement that a lot of old World Cup tickets that really hit the market back in the last couple years. I'm talking about like the World Cups, the like 1958 Pele's.
Yeah.
I think he made a statement, be like, man, there's so many tickets out there, talking about them being fraudulent. And let me see if I can.
I think he said that he thought that he doesn't trust them because there's just too many.
Right. And Sergio's response that he wanted me to let the world know that, a lot of these soccer guys got these long time ago, really, really cheap, I guess, relatively cheap to what they were post-COVID.
Yeah, including me. I bought one for $100 on eBay.
Right. And then when prices go 10X, 20, 50X, well, guess what happens? They just hit the market like crazy.
Yeah.
So just wanted to touch on that.
And to be clear, that's not the only example of a ticket that all of a sudden became very, very plentiful after it blew up in price. There's lots of examples of that, and both American, North American, European, all kinds of places that those are from.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that during COVID, with the high dollar tickets from the Jordan debuts to the Wilt 100s. Yeah, like I said, when you buy something cheap and it 10, 20X is like, holy hell, I can get that much money.
Yeah.
So they take that all day. So just wanted to touch on that before we kind of jumped in to what what we wanted to get to. And last couple of weeks I was out of town, so went to a couple card shows. Went to the Burbank show. I didn't see any ticket guys out there, and and it was, they do that, and I heard there's big money, it's packed. Man, it was just okay compared to like the Dallas card show. It was kind of went out to see some friends. And
how long were you there for? Were you there for the whole show?
I was there for the weekend. I set up Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, and then left early on Sunday. Only had a few sales. But one thing about these card shows that, man, you just never know. And I was just sitting there at a show, and a guy walked up and just unloaded like just ridiculous tickets on me. Kind of one of those quiet collectors that's not on social media, like showing me a full Jordan debut, or not full Jordan, the shot 98. He collected the highest scoring basketball games, Dream Team debuts, Dr. J tickets from, I can't remember if it was the dunk or the layup or both, stuff like that. And, I think he was talking about wanting to sell, but I think he was more just curious about what he thought the value was. Cause he never it was never one of those like, hey, how much would you pay for these? It was kind of more like, hey, I'm thinking about selling kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we never really got anywhere with it, but it's really cool to see random stuff that people show up with. And he had some good stories and things like I never knew about how he told me he has a basketball with every top 50 member signed in the NBA except one. And it's John Stockton. He goes, everybody I meet, I ask him if they have an in with John Stockton because he doesn't sign.
Mm-hmm.
He said Stockton could make, hundreds of thousands of dollars just from Dream Team stuff, like people getting all the autos and things of that sort. He told me about, he has that ball also, he got Kareem to sign it. And he hates Kareem because he says he's just kind of a prick, is what his wording was. And he gave him the ball to sign it and had all those autos on it. and he got the ball, signed it, and he rolled it back to him.
Just rolled it back to him.
We've heard other stories from the National about Kareem and his wife or his significant other about how they deal with autos.
Yeah.
I thought was pretty interesting. And it was also funny. I talked to multiple people who talked about, oh yeah, we used to get Jordan autographs all the time. I guess he did a camp out there in Santa Rosa, I think. And all the local people would like pay for kids to go. And the catch was the kids could get one thing autographed. So basically they would pay for the kid to go, and then they would
get the
kid an item to sign, and then he would sign.
Yeah.
And they had this like gravy train going for years, and it basically ended when he stopped doing the camp. I don't know how long, about 5 or 10 years ago.
That's interesting. Yeah.
But one thing I noticed at the Dallas card show, I ran into Matt Miller, and some of the guys know him from Boogers, and he's been doing quite a bit with movie tickets. And we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but I kind of want to take a deeper dive into the whole movie ticket world. What do you know about the movie ticket world?
I don't know very much at all, and I think we talked a little bit about it last show with Ravel, and it's never really interested me that much. I know that it seems like the Japanese tickets are really cool looking, but they're pretty plentiful. If that's just what I've observed, and then you have the regular ones. But I'm curious to know what the real chase movie tickets are, I guess. Like,
it was kind of two things that made me want to bring this up, is because at the card show, when the general population walks through, they're the card guys, the memorabilia people. A lot of times they look at the tickets and things that stand out, like the Nirvana ticket, which is real flashy and cool looking. Yeah. And other things that are just basic box office, they kind of glaze over. Like I could have a Michael Jordan basic debut sitting in there and they won't even recognize it. Right. But I was over by Matt Miller's table, and he had all his movie tickets out, all the Japanese ones. And for those who don't know, who weren't here last week, we were talking about the tickets. Like, they're very visual, as in, you walk by a table, especially at a card show, you notice the tickets because, they look something like this, very flashy, very have the logo on it, the characters, and you can't help but notice. And when you have a bunch of them out there, you get a lot of people who stop me like, oh wow, what is this? Oh, this is really cool. And basically the ones that are flashy are these Japanese tickets. And I was talking to them, in Japan they'd have advanced tickets, especially in the past, where you would have to basically, get your seat assignment ahead of time. You'd get your tickets, and then you would get this fancy version of this ticket. And as you can see, like a lot of these, you have like the Rocky, and think about people who basically, all people watch movies. They're always interested. And if you're a big fan of something, you see something like, oh, this Rocky, wow, this is really cool. And, they can pull it up and they can look at it. And they even use the Google Translate, which I thought was kind of cool, how they put the phone over it and it would literally translate the ticket. Like, I never used Google Translate video. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I was
sitting there, and the guy just walked. And you use that Google Translate.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, and a guy
lived with.
I walked up, and literally, no interest in movie tickets whatsoever. You what? What were you saying? Sorry, the thing broke up a little bit.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. But yeah, literally a guy walked up and had no interest in tickets. And then he saw this one and he literally bought it for $500 on the spot from Matt. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. The visuals and the eye appeals at card shows really catch people's eyes. And I'm like, there's something more. Maybe there's something to this. Maybe the Japanese, I don't know, because it is very niche-y and there's a lot more of them out there, maybe for bigger movies. But then Golden had an auction recently that had 2 monster tickets, movie tickets. And this is kind of another niche of the movie ticket world, which I thought was very interesting, is kind of like the debut, I would say, or you would call it the world premiere. So basically Golden had a Gone with the Wind world premiere ticket. I mean, this is back from 1939. And as you can see it, I mean, there's the ticket. It's kind of old school. It's got the design on it, and it went for a little over $2,300. Let me see if I can pull that up. But yeah, it went for about 2,300. And then another cool one that I saw on there that I kind of bid on these, but didn't go wild, was the ET world premiere. And I mean, it's pretty cool. The very first one. So it's the very first showing, monster movies. ET's a classic, very cool ticket. The visual on it's, you can't beat it. This one went for a little over 12 or 1,300. So, seeing these things between the Japanese and these world premieres, what are your thoughts?
I don't quite understand the world premiere. Is that just one showing? It's one showing at one place. And that's it?
Right. It's like the very first time, like where the actors all showed up, the production, the big premiere, this is it. Like, this is the one.
Then there can't be more than how many? A couple thousand of those?
Right. I guess they would probably have at some monster theater and it'd hold maybe hundreds or 1,000.
Yeah.
So that I thought that was very, very interesting between the visual, the first, maybe more of a rarity, especially compared to Japanese tickets. Then it's like, there's a lot of people that everybody watches movies and likes movies, but would they be interested in the ticket to the world premiere, and how much value would that have long-term? Would collectors be really into that long-term?
Yeah.
I thought it was quite interesting.
Well, here's my thoughts on it. There's two things that make it valuable. One is demand, and the other one is scarcity. The demand is there definitely because these are classics, but the idea of it being scarce, as far as like the Japanese movie tickets and just the general movie tickets, I'm not sold on that. I don't know. I would imagine that there's a lot. The world premiere, that's obviously very different, but there could be a number of those out there. There could be, this could have been sitting in somebody's office somewhere, and all the extras were, in a stack, and somebody has a stack of them somewhere. So it's really hard to gauge whether there's true scarcity out there for a lot of these. That would be my hesitation in it. I'm not really into them, but that's kind of my thoughts.
Well, the answer says, I have a feeling Shaun is getting ready to say there has to be stacks and stacks of those out there.
Not happening. We don't know. There could be.
And Mark says Gone with the Wind might have been a steal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one thing I think we could start seeing more of, but of course, these are kind of, I would say, the first time some of these things have popped up or been on people's radar. And once these big numbers start happening, is this something we'll start seeing a lot more of these come out? Are they going to be super rare? I mean, I think that's kind of the question on something like this.
It's the unknown. So unless you're
that's
really
kind of what we see,
then I would be hesitant.
But I would, like Matt says, Matt Miller's actually one that has a lot of the Japanese. Scarcity is nothing compared to cards, maybe more than sports tickets.
Yeah. Certainly. Not on everyday movies, because if you think about how many times they showed E.T. in various theaters throughout the country, you're talking about thousands and thousands of theaters, and they re-released it, and it showed for a whole summer or probably a whole year. There's got to be lots and lots and lots of those out there that haven't been discovered. So comparing that to one game on one date, it's not even close to me. So, but the world premieres, and I'm not sure about the Japanese and how they did it, but that it's just an unknown, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been the consensus. The world premiere ones are kind of this is interesting. They have general sales of movie tickets that we've all seen, the bland box office from any random movie, just from the pure eye appeal and the visual. And then at the top, of course, the debuts, the world premieres that have that really cool visual. But I know Gone with the Wind, supposedly, I'm trying to pull it up on Golden, went for like 13K, the one 3K. And it's like, man, you never know with this kind of stuff if there's shill bidding going on for the initial one to try to pump up the second one. Here, I finally got it pulled up. Here, let me show you the so on December 15th, March 8th, the Gone with the Wind sold for 13,200. You see that one right there in March 8th? Yeah. It's like, okay, was that like a pump? Did two people just go crazy? Or was that shill bidded up? Then, of course, we saw one 6 months later, very, very similar. Section 11, row 13, section 11, row 11 went for 2,500. So that was kind of other interesting anomaly. Like, okay.
Yeah, that happens sometimes when it's the first time that anybody's ever seen one, goes crazy, and then another one comes out. Oh, this isn't a one of one, and then that begs the question: how many more are there?
Right. I guess that's the ultimate question. There are a lot of these more laying around in people's, drawers, or people in Hollywood. I think Matt made an interesting comment. Like, is there some super producer, movie goer that has just tons of these sitting around, it's sitting on a gold mine from world premieres, and then one day they'll come out? Or is it just kind of super scarce and these things will just be more in demand over time? I think it's kind of a interesting thing to see in the future. And Matt also said many world premieres are in Mann's Chinese theater that has just shy of 1,000 seats.
Yeah, it's really small. Yeah, interesting.
I feel like don't have much to say on the whole movie ticket world.
Well, I said it's not really something that I'm ever going to start collecting. But I think that it's great for those who do, and it's good for ticket collecting in general. But
yeah, I think so. But yeah, like I said, interesting to see what happens in the keeping an eye on. I know you had an interesting video made up. My computer's kind of going a little scary, but talk about how this came about. Basically, you guys in PSA made a video about Griffey tickets that you have.
Yeah. How's your internet connection? You're kind of breaking up on me.
Yeah, mine's breaking up. I feel like when I got a bunch of browsers open, it's
yeah, you got a lot of browsers open.
Okay. But I got this one. This PSA video. Here it is. Do you want me to just play it, or you want to kind of?
Let's just watch it.
All right. Let me know if the audio for some reason doesn't come through.
Picture day, late 80s, San Bernardino, California. As storm clouds gather in the distance, minor leaguers gather pregame. They play for the Spirit, a Seattle Mariners affiliate. And raking for the farm system, the future of baseball. A kid, the kid, steps into frame. Smiles big, and a shot heard around the hobby. After a bit of clever editing deck, became a generational flag. The 1989 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. star rookie. An inspiration even to this day for fans, collectors, 90s kids, and a Brooklyn-based artist who in 2022 shared this finished painting of that OG image along with a timestamp, April 17th, 1988. In the comment section, a pair of $3 tickets surfaced and stopped the scroll of Griffey collector Shaun Doherty. The dates aligned, the hunt was on, but he needed evidence. Getty Images would reveal the smoking gun, another photo from that very same picture roll. PSA authenticators concurred, and the Ken Griffey Jr. photo taken for 1989 Upper Deck card pedigree was ratified. Although we've seen over 100,000 copies of the card pass through the grading room, we've only seen one ticket from that spring day at Fiscalini Field. And because the game was rained out, we don't expect to see many more. A new relic for a showcase cornerstone. I'm Ryan Green for PSA. Stay tuned for looks at more unique grails as they flow through our grading room. Picture Day, late 80s, San Bernardino.
Good.
So what's the story behind this video?
Yeah, so it's kind of a long story, but so this is a photo that I have that I bought at auction a few years ago. And the story about this one is that it's a Polaroid, and it's a Type 1. I guess it technically a Type 1 because it came from the original negative and it was of that era. But it was a Polaroid that Upper Deck would use. They had a machine that they could pull a small photo off of the original negative to see what a card would look like. And so I got this at auction a while back. Long story, I won't get into it, but I knew the date of it. I had already done the research. I talked to the guy who was he worked for Upper Deck at the time. His name's Tom Guideman. And he confirmed it, and he actually was the one who created the photo and whatnot. And so I knew that was kind of the original photo, and I knew that it was the date because the story is that the photographer for Sports Illustrated went to San Bernardino on a day off for Ken Griffey Sr. Ken Griffey Sr. flew out, and they did a photo shoot. And that was April 17th, 1988. And you can look up the Sports Illustrated because the photo shoot is in there. There's a lot of photos from that photo shoot. But one of them was this photo. And so, but it wasn't in the Sports Illustrated, but it was in the set of photos that the photographer took. And so I had that, and, I follow this artist, Greg Kreinler, that they referenced in the little video. And he, on that post, he was painting the same photo, and I contacted him and told him I had that photo, and he asked me to use it to put some more detail in the painting. And of course I wanted the painting. The painting was amazing. So I ended up actually buying the painting from him too. And so I got the painting.
You love your Griffey.
But in the post on Twitter that he made, somebody had posted that they had 2 tickets to that game, and it was dated April 17th, 1988. And I didn't know it at the time, but the game was actually rained out, and you could see it. So in the photo, you can see, like, it looks like rain clouds in the background of the shot. And so I contacted him. This is the ticket. I contacted him. We went back and forth. I mean, I just kind of established the fact that I really, really wanted it for this collection. And I think it took about a month and a half or so, but eventually we came to terms, and I bought it from him. So he actually has 2. There's another one out there. So I showed him that video, and he thought it was really cool. And he said that maybe he'll get his slab someday, but I didn't know that PSA was going to do that. I knew that, Matt had mentioned something about it, and so I knew something was going to happen, but I thought that video it turned out really cool. It really captured the kind of story behind it really well. So I thought it was well done.
Yep. Just a great ticket for a Griffey collector for sure. So you have basically almost a Type 1 photo from the game or from the photo shoot.
Well, yeah, the definition of a Type 1 is that it came from the original negative from the same era that it was produced. And I think their time frame is like 2 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what that is. But PSA, at least back then when I bought it, they wouldn't slab it as such because it's a Polaroid, and it's not, they don't know the history on it. But if you, like, on the back, it just says polo color. So it's like a Polaroid. But that was what they used to create an image of a negative in a card set so that they could see what a card would look like, basically. And that's where that came from.
So value on the picture and value on the ticket.
Priceless. Yeah.
That would be interesting to see if he did auction it. I'm sure it'll never see the light of day other than today, but I mean, would you rather own that or the picture of the baby from the LeBron debut?
I think I'd take this, honestly. And the LeBron picture of the baby is pretty cool.
No, that's really cool because that's such of crossover to the card world. That Griffey Jr. is just the ultimate card for especially people of our age.
Yeah, from our era, that's like the 52 mantle.
I know, and you being a local Seattle boy, it's like, man, doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah. So, I mean, in my collection, that's right up there with my favorite ticket. It's probably not the most valuable that I own, but it's definitely my favorite or one of my favorites.
Well, I talked about this ticket a while back, and it's kind of a little mini story behind it. So, I got that. I bought it Game 6 Mavs championship, which is basically there's only one other one, and it says it's Rick Carlisle's original ticket. So I talked to a guy who does a lot of through the mail autograph stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, I really, really want Dirk's auto on it, but I'm terrified of sending it off. But I did it anyway, other than through my best judgment. I was like, oh, gosh. And I sent it off in June, right? Well, of course, idiot me, Dirk leaves Texas the whole damn summer. Like, he's gone. And then it gets around to September, and I'm like, I still haven't got my ticket. I haven't heard anything. I sent a check in there with it because basically they say if you send it to Dirk's Foundation and you do a little donation, he'll sign it and send it back. Or sometimes he doesn't, they just send it back. But September came around. I was like, oh my gosh, the tickets get lost. And I heard from somebody that he's not doing through the mail anymore. He's going with exclusive with some group like Fanatics. And then lo and behold, I saw my check was cashed like a week ago. And just yesterday, I got it back.
Nice.
And I got the auto. Dirk on the championship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lucky.
So definitely a one of one. And for a Mav fan, I guess that's about the ultimate ticket you could ever own. So I was very, very almost more relieved than excited when I got it. I was like, oh, thank God. Didn't get lost in the mail. It's not like somewhere random at their foundation offices. But that whole, I don't think I'd do it again if it's just something very unique and valuable. Because you just, no matter what people say, oh, yeah, 100% of the time, you get it back. You get it back. Yeah. But you just, those months in between, you're just sweating bullets the whole time.
It's so risky because there's no way to track it. There's no way to have any idea what happens.
Right. Like once they get it, but I talked to somebody that said, man, I've done it every time. And every time I've done it like 5 or 6 times, I'm like, okay, I live in Dallas. And I'll write a note and I'll write a fat donation check just to get their attention more than the $50 amount.
Yeah.
But things like that. Have you ever done anything through the mail?
Not since I was, 11 years old.
I mean, yeah, that's a big thing for the auto, the SIG guys is
I know.
Knowing all those ins and outs, knowing who does sign, getting the right thing signed, then immediately turning around and selling them.
Yeah.
And like Dirk had he opened a restaurant at the airport and was talking to the guy and like, yeah, man, the SIG guys go out there and they hang out and get stuff autoed because they know he'll do it. It's just, man, it's just a whole nother world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's congratulations on that because that's a big one.
Well, thank you very much. Did you have any items you'd like to share?
So new pickups. I actually pulled off a pretty big trade. It was technically a 4-way trade. So I can go into that.
How many hours were put into getting this 4-man?
It happened pretty fast, actually.
Really?
Yeah. It was 2 people. I'm not going to name any names or anything like that, but 2 people who I know really well and who are really good to deal with, and I've always had success dealing with them. So it makes it easy when that happens, because we know it's easy to deal with people that when you're making trades because you know what they're into, what you trust them, and so I don't know, it makes it easier. Anyway, here's what I gave up. I just have to describe it because I don't have photos of it or anything. I had the Super Bowl I ticket signed by Bart Starr, and I gave up my Mickey Mantle last game full ticket. So those two big tickets.
Yeah, full.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I got, here's what I got. So 2 future Hall of Fame debuts. One, Joey Votto, tough one to find.
Is that really a tough one to find?
For a modern ticket, it's pretty tough. Yeah.
Does it have to be like, I guess there aren't many red season ticket holders and they probably just did mobile, or is that how that worked?
I think it's one that probably will come out a lot more once Votto retires and is close to the Hall of Fame. But, so this one's the opposite. This one's really easy to find, but it's really expensive. And it's Kershaw's debut.
Okay.
So 2 future Hall of Famers. You see Kershaw's debut all the time, but I just don't want to spend that much for it because it is so common. And so then I have 3. I added 3 current Hall of Famers. This one you'll really like. It's extremely rare. Goose Gossage debut.
Okay.
This is the only one graded by PSA. It's impossible to find. I think the attendance is like 7,000 or something. I got a Chipper Jones debut. I have to send that in. These are hard to find too, surprisingly. Padres tickets are just tough. And then the big one, very rare, Lou Brock debut. And
oh, wow. Okay. I'll say,
really
how many of those are floating around?
Yeah, there's not many. I think the attendance was less than 10,000 at this one too. So those, and then the fourth part of it was some cash was thrown in, and I used that to pick up a Jackie Robinson rookie season ticket. This is an interesting story because this one resulted in a tie. So in 1947, the Dodgers played 155 games, one more game than they're scheduled. And the reason was because in this game, there was a protest. The protest was upheld. So they determined that the game was a tie and they replayed it on a future date. So a little story behind that one. But so I got 3 current Hall of Fame debuts to add that I didn't have. That brings me up to 65 total, and 2 future and a 47 Dodgers ticket out of the deal.
You're a man who knows what he wants. 47s and MLB debuts. When I show you what I have, it's just, my stuff's all over the place. Like this one.
We can't see you.
Oh,
it's just me.
My bad. All right, hold on. So this one, Shaun, there's no way you know what happened in this game. Any idea?
I bet there was a lot of scoring.
Well, if you're a Texas person or a Texas Tech fan, you 100% would know. It's the game where they beat Texas, which was #1 in the country, on basically a last-second play to Michael Crabtree, which I've been looking for this for a while, and it's really, really hard to find. I think I'm going to get it autoed. I'm kind of a sucker for, crazy or big college football games.
Yeah.
So I was kind of fired up to get that one. This one was very interesting. It's Oasis's last concert. And I'm sure they're going to get together again one of these days. So it probably won't be the last one when it's all said and done. But I'm kind of a big fan of them. And I know in the UK they were just freaking massive. But it was kind of like they gave out wristbands for this, but there were these tickets. So it was like a weekend camping, but it was also a ticket that got you in, something weird like that.
Where'd you pick that up at?
I think somebody posted it on Boogers. It was like $200 or $300. I was like, you know what? I collect last concerts. I'm a big Oasis fan. It's a cool, it seems really rare. Yes.
Cool.
We'll probably all get back together and make $100 million on a massive tour when the brothers get back together. But, oh well, I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I picked this up. It was the Dirk Hall of Fame. Like their the ticket. They actually do nice tickets for their enshrinement. I've seen these aren't really rare because they put them out and people know they want them.
Yeah.
But dang, one of the few places that are still putting out kind of cool looking tickets. And then I picked this up. If anybody's actually interested in one, it's the first time they did a Lambeau Leap. Leroy Butler, and they're really nice. They're fulls. I was going to try to get rid of one of them because I've been looking for a full one in a while, and these were really nice. So I kind of put that on boogers the other day. But yeah, those were my my pickups all over the place.
I actually had a couple other ones too. This one I actually won at Golden Auction. It's a Jackie Robinson Steals Home, number 9, I think. And that was kind of surprising. I don't know. We've talked about Golden before, but I don't ever look at their auctions usually. And I just happened to, so I discovered that they have an app, and it makes it way easier to look at their auctions quickly. Have you messed with that at all? You're breaking up again. You must be opening
randomly because they have those weekly auctions all the time. Yeah, I closed a couple of browsers. Like, it's so dumb. I go on Golden like weekly, and they pop up, and you got to be on top of it. Like a Bo, I was trying to pull that up. A Bo Jackson full debut was on there, kind of hidden. Sutterfield, Justin didn't even really know about it.
I was surprised.
And that's where they're going with the win, same auction.
Right. And it's interesting because for whatever reason, I've kind of lost interest in even looking at Golden because it's just so random, and they seem to just post auctions constantly, and most of it's just junk, but every once in a while they have really cool tickets. So it's something I need to look at more often, I guess.
Yeah. Like you literally almost have to go on there once every week or two.
Right.
About and just see what they have.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was my third Jackie Robinson Steals Home. There's 20 total. It's a set that I am interested in, but I'm not really trying to collect it per se, but I'll pick them up if they show up.
How many times did he steal home?
20 times. Once in the World Series.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
We have a couple questions. P Daddy G's asked, how many Man of Last Game tickets are there and fulls? Do you know how many fulls are out there?
PSA had 2 fulls, and mine was one of them. I know that the Hall of Fame, the National Baseball Hall of Fame, has one in their collection because I've seen it on display. So those are the only ones I've seen.
Okay. Denton True, I'm interested in the Lambeau Leap. Well, hit me up. Put it on boogers. Strike Force. Mike, did you get dial up? No, but I think we have rain coming, and my browsers are just throwing things wonky tonight.
Well, when you show all your browsers, you got like a billion different.
I got things I got to show everybody. I got a lot of browsers, a lot of eBay stuff.
Okay.
So I don't want to leave anything out.
Understood.
But yeah, he said Golden is definitely an oddball, but something you need to definitely check out. Do you have anything with any auctions coming up or anything you've been looking at or any? Oh yeah, we had the eBay sales of the week.
Yeah, sales of the week.
All right.
I picked up a couple eBay things too that'll mix in. So jump into sales of the week segment. If you can find the browser.
The eBay drum roll. See, look at I just opened them up and now we're back frozen again. We're back, baby. Okay, here we go. So I've been looking for one of these tickets for a while, and of course, I was going to ask you this after I show you, but wait till I'm done. Billie Jean King, was it Bobby Riggs? Full ticket Battle of the Sexes. Man, this guy had somebody put up like 3 of them, and I've never seen these before. Have you ever seen a Battle of the Sexes?
I've never seen one. Never seen one. Yeah,
this one was a beaut. $500, probably instantly purchased. Nice full ticket, no hole punches. It's at least worth double that. And it wasn't the only one. This one sold for $30. Kind of interesting. It's a totally different looking ticket. Had a hole punch, with the racket.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe there was one more still loading. But yeah, I mean, what do you think those are worth? and your eBay notifications.
Yeah, I have no idea
Shaun,
what they're actually worth. Go ahead.
Yeah, I hear you. No, I would think at least double. I would think between 1,000 to 2,000 plus, something in that ballpark, 1 to 2K, maybe more, especially if one's never sold. Especially the nicer one. It's kind of like a cultural, like milestone that I think will always be remembered just because of the uniqueness of the event. Justin says 800 to 1,000. I'm thinking the auction, especially the nice one, would go for more.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that if the full auction was just auctioned off straight up, you'd be looking at 3,000 to 5,000.
Ooh, 3 to 5.
Yeah,
I think Justin,
I think that in the top 100, that one was in maybe 140th or something. Like it wasn't in the top 100, but only because nobody had ever seen the ticket before.
Right.
At least I hadn't. It's not a ticket that you've ever seen, but these are, they're incredible. I think. I don't.
Yeah, especially this one. I'm like, damn, that one is really cool. Even the racket one that was $30. Like, I guess that's a thing. I mean, a lot of these people sometimes put stuff up they don't know, and they're just like, I don't know, whatever, $30.
Yeah, I think that it was such an iconic sporting event of that era, and I don't maybe younger people who weren't old enough to remember it, or I mean, I'm not old enough to remember it, but I understand the history behind it, so they're classics, I think.
Yeah, I think the movie, I'm sure, helped things with the younger generation to know what was going on. Another one that kind of people were talking about was this sale was the Jordan 63 ticket, went for $8,300. A lot of people thought that was a steal. I don't know. I guys thought it was a fair price. I just hate I hate the rip tickets like this, but it is Jordan 63, pretty iconic game. It's red, but like I said, you don't see hardly anything of it. And it's just crazy when those rip tickets go for an insane amount.
That's actually a really nice copy of it too, even though the rip is so bad, but
it really is. I guess you always just look at the rip, but then when you look at the whole ticket, you're like, oh wow, that's really nice. And it's a 4. Yeah. It's Jordan 63. So that was kind of another interesting eBay sale. It's always interested in the ones that are straight auction. Like, okay, let's see what it can do. Let's see what this is really worth.
Because you get a real sense of where the market is. But with eBay, generally it usually goes for less than what it would at a regular auction, like wouldn't one of those go for 10 to 12,000 if it was heritage?
Well, Justin says it was a steal. One sold a week ago or so before for 13.5 at I think Heritage.
Yeah.
So it probably was a good deal, and that's what most people, the consensus was like, oh man, that's a must-own Jordan ticket that easily could have gone for over 10K.
Yeah. So you probably know this? Don't you have to have some kind of special approval to bid over 10,000 on eBay?
I've heard of that before, or about a year back when the card guys were complaining about, man, I put this stuff on eBay and it's not going for what it should be because, and I don't know if that's still true or not. And that's another reason not to sell a unique high-end item on an eBay auction.
Right. So I don't know if that might just be some rumor, but if that was true, that could be, prevent something like this from going much higher.
Yep. So guys, it's good to know. Next time you're trying on selling your Jackie Robinson debut, Shaun, don't put it on eBay auction.
On eBay. Yeah. But speaking of eBay, I had so these ones sold back to back, and they are consecutive seats. They're tandem, or both next to each other, I guess. And they sold on eBay. Same seller sold them. I picked up both of them. So it's September 6th, 1948. And this is the game that started the phrase. Have you heard the phrase sane or spawn insane and pray for
yeah. What's
Your audio is really crazy.
Yeah, I just turned it up because I thought it was down. We're having lots of problems tonight. How is it now?
So yeah, that's good. So this was the first game from that. They Spawn and Sane pitched in a doubleheader, and they both won in complete games. And then they had a couple of rainouts, and then their next game was a doubleheader, and they both won that game also. So it started that phrase, and then I think it was some writer in a newspaper wrote a poem that included that phrase, Spawn and Sane and Pray for Rain. And this was the first of the two doubleheaders where they won 4 games in consecutive doubleheaders. And then I think between the two of them, they won like 10 of their next 20 games or something, and they made the playoffs. So I thought those were really cool tickets. I've wanted one for a while. I bought both of them because, I just want them. So that was an eBay find also. I think one was 300 and the other one was 200 and something.
Well, P Daddy said, I sold one of those pre-COVID and went for $60. Now 4 years later, 5 times that.
Yeah. Yeah. They weren't even marked correctly either. They weren't listed with what they were.
Oh, the interesting thing I noticed about this eBay listing I meant to mention about the Jordan ticket is the guy didn't put ticket in the title.
Oh, wow.
So I wonder if that because I don't know if I saw this auction. You have things that you put in your searches for your notifications and usually almost put ticket, but this one didn't have the word ticket in it. So,
yeah. Well, so what I do, and I think that this is pretty common, but if you don't do it, you should. I search for auctions and then most bids, and then you'll get what is a straight auction. You'll get the most popular ones. And then, you go from there. So that would have showed up in that kind of search.
Now, your notifications, you get eBay notifications, right?
Yeah.
And you get them to your phone or your email?
I don't. There's so much lag in those. If something good pops up, you're not going to get an email saying, "Oh, hey, there's this rare ticket." Somebody will have bought it by the time you get to it. So you have to actually proactively look at the searches.
Right. So you think the phone notifications, do they come at a certain time every day, or is it random?
I don't know. I don't even bother with that. I just go in and look at the app on a regular basis. And because all my searches, then it has a little mark by it if there's something new from it. And then I look to see on my favorite searches to see, the things that I'm looking for the most.
Okay. So you have your eBay save searches, right?
Yeah.
And then you go into your save searches in your account and it'll tell you if something new has been listed by a blue
It'll have
dot.
a little blue dot by it on the app. And then I'll just go in and look.
Interesting. Because I feel like I'm always behind. I'm like, oh, this is going to be sold. Oh, I got my notification, or I didn't get a notification because somebody already bought it. So I feel like now I have to be more proactive.
Yeah, the notifications, you can't rely on that stuff.
I guess for the super rare, unique things that are just pop up, like, they're going to get bought quick.
Yeah. Yeah. And even so, I miss stuff all the time auctions all the time. Just like something like that, if it's not listed right, it's really easy to miss it. Right. That's why I search by number of bids, because then, obviously other people have found it, they bid on it. So
interesting. See, these are tips. This is why you guys watch this show, for these hot tips. Even I'm learning something today.
Yeah. Great.
Paul has a random question. Shaun, regarding Greg Maddox's debut ticket, do you have both tickets, meaning both the second and third games? Game was suspended and resumed on the third, which Maddox pitched.
Yeah, good question. I don't. I have the second, and I need the third because now PSA decided. Well, Matt decided that the second isn't the actual, and I agree. I agree with this. But September 2nd isn't technically the ticket that would have allowed you to see Maddox pitch, because he pitched on the third, but it was for the second game because it was rained out or called because of light because it was the Cubs, so they didn't have, I don't know. But anyway, they played the next day. They finished the game. Maddox pitched in that game, which was the continuation of the game on the second. But you would have needed a ticket from the third to see that, because there's no way that they would have had all of the people who had September 2nd tickets come into the ballpark for a couple of innings and then make them leave so that they could get the September 3rd people in. That just wouldn't have happened. They would have made it so that anybody who had September 3rd could see it. Anybody who had September 2nd, they would have had to schedule.
You're giving me a headache. I can't even keep track of that.
It's inside baseball stuff, I know, but it's true. And I agree with Matt and what they did. So they basically changed it. So now it has to be September 3rd. September 2nd is not the one, which is the one I have. But it was just a crappy box office one anyway. But a September 3rd recently sold on eBay for like $900 or something, and that's quite a bit. That's more than I was willing to pay for it. So
Paul's on it. Said, when you're saying that, he wrote that.
Yeah. So I was looking at that one. I wanted to buy it, but I paying that much for it just couldn't justify that. I'll get it some other time. I'll get it in a trade somewhere.
Get it another day.
Yeah.
Well, did you have anything else you wanted to discuss?
I don't think so. I think we covered it mostly. What about you?
I think so. This one's kind of been a battle. I feel like I've been going through a fight with my internet and my computer.
It's your browser. You got to figure that out.
My 8 browsers. Let's test it.
See, now you got what? 1, 2, 3. You got 6 up. So things are smooth now.
All right, I'll close one, see what happens. See how it's slow?
Oh,
all right, I guess it's good now.
So it's whenever
there's just I guess I have a limit of like 7 or 8.
No, can you? It seems like
like whenever I click it, I think it slows down just a tad.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So and then I
I think I'm due for a new one. These damn computers.
Well, you think it's your computer?
So it's a little slow but I don't know. I haven't been a problem much in the past. Yeah. Something like that. Too much going on.
Yeah.
But we'll work on that. Just like Shaun worked on his internet, I'll try to work on my computers. So you have the best.
Maybe it wasn't my internet all along. Maybe
no way.
It was you. Maybe this whole time it was your browser. My internet's been fine.
No way. I'm not going to believe that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll get it figured out. Great.
All right. Well, thanks for joining. It was work, but we got it done. Denton Shrew, I appreciate the love. I just want to reiterate again, this is my favorite time of the year. It's not 100 degrees in Texas. NFL has started, and I love the NFL. Baseball's wrapping up. Playoffs are on the horizon. It's a good time right now.
I'm telling you, that Mariners versus Rangers series at the end of the season, that's going to be, you better get your tickets.
It'll be a big one. Mariners they won today, but all of a sudden Rangers found a way to win and Mariners started losing again. But now
I think
Rangers got injuries and it's a whole other topic.
Oh yeah, Scherzer's out for the whole season, isn't he?
Scherzer's out now, basically. If Mariners can't do it this year, when can they ever do it?
Well, yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. Come down to the end.
It will be. All right, guys. Thanks for joining either this week or next week. And we'll fine tune everything and we'll be back and we'll see you again. Have a good night.